Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to SkyTour Livestream, your one-stop shop for the deep sky at night, man, let me tell you. So, I am here, of course, with Darrell Mason. Hi, Darrell. How are you?
Hello, Mark. I'm good. You? Hello, everybody.
Oh, I'm doing fine, thanks. It seems like every time we turn around, we add some technology to the system. And this image right here you see is a 100% zoom of a star cluster that I just took for 2 minutes. So I have it set up now so I can do really deep exposures. The other night I took one 4 minutes long and the stars were perfect. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you guys sit through 4-minute exposures. We're still going to do the ones we normally do. But the whole point is there's technology that's helping. But you'll notice something else, and that the stars are richly focused now. Really sharp little pinpoints. And how is that? I actually implemented another system which does autofocusing, which is something I've been after for a while. Some of you know that. And now we have it. And I will demonstrate it for you. This star cluster here, I'm not keeping it. It's just a little view here. And just there was a test. But now, if I come out here, actually, let me show you this, how this works. Let me go to a 1 second exposures here. All right, so that's up here on the upper right there. You see it up there, 1 second exposures. And then this gain here, this gain is how much the sensitivity on the system is working. And then this is how much data we're allowing into the sensor. So I'm now going to kick it up and bring in a lot of data. So here it is. Okay, now I'm going to back out a little bit, and I'm going to go to, say, 50% on this. Okay, so there's the stars, and we're taking 1 second exposures. Now, I'm going to do something. I'm going to actually come down here. I have the focus hooked in now to this system now with the camera control, and I'm going to kick the focus out right now, and you'll watch the stars become little donuts here in just a second. Now, if you come in and you don't have focus on the system, then you've got to be able to find focus on the system. And right now, there's no way to actually, or there wasn't any way to actually do it except do it manually. And I did not want to do that. And look who's here. It's Katie Griboski, a Colorado State Director for the Mutual UFO Network, and a dear friend of mine. Hello, Katie. How are you? I want to say hi to DK, who's here, Daisy and Zoe Amethyst, and, of course, JSCO 77. How are you guys? You're the early birds. But I'm glad Katie's here. That's nice to see you, Katie. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to blurry up our photos here, though. So when you come in for the first time at night, you're not going to know what the stars are going to look like. And they're probably going to look like this. They're probably going to be just a little bit blurry, as you can see. All right. So rather than like zoom in and do all that little fancy focusing I was doing, I added a process now, which is under here, called the multi-star full width half maximum measurement. And watch this now. Each star of note is characterized by a square around it, and then I'm going to click on a scan button, and it's going to scan the stars, and it's going to go through a bunch of focal ranges to where they're out of focus. And if you look at my hand, it's going to be out of focus all the way down to in focus, and then back out of focus again. And the bottom of that curve is what we want. That's the smallest optical image. And so now what we're doing is acquiring the smallest optical image among all the stars. If you look at the top there, you can see it says 4 of 13. It's doing 13 trial runs here. And then within each 13, it's going to pick 3 stars and use those values. And if you watch the stars, you'll see that they're actually changing in focus. And now you see here is a curve developing. And here at the center of the curve is the best spot for the moment. And that'll change as it gets more data. Okay? That curve's called a parabola, and it's a curved parabola. And as we make these this parabola, we'll get the point of best focus. All right? So here we are at 10. You'll say, well, wait, it's way out of focus. Yeah, I know. That's right. because it's at the other end of the curve. It's going in, out of focus, into focus, and out of focus, so it has a curve. And then once it says we're done, I'm going to tell it to go to the best position, and it's going to return. See, it's way over there on the left side of the curve right there. Okay, here's where it is. And we want to be here. So when our bar goes green up there and it says we're done, like that, now they'll stay here unless I hit this. Now I'm going to say go to the best position and watch this line right here. Okay, now this line is going to shift across, go all the way through the worst focus, and look at the stars. Then it comes back and goes to that best focus spot, and now look, perfectly focused stars. Isn't that beautiful? This is something that we've sorely needed this, because now we're able to capture objects and make sure that the focus is so precise that we can do some real astronomy work here now, and this is going to be kind of cool. And then once we're done, we just get rid of it. Say, okay, we'll come back if we need it again. And then I hit this T core over here. This is temperature correction, and it's going to use the system that we normally bring up, the focus system, and it's going to use that to tell us just what we're going to be getting for temperature. And then based on the temperature, there's a certain amount of change in the focus per degree, and so it's going to do that for us automatically. So Jessica S is here with us. Hello, Jessica. How are you? Fractal Frog, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm glad it's the coolest thing you've seen today. Very much so. This is very cool. I love technology, especially when it works for us, not against us. We had a little problem last night with the system. It was actually, for me, it was actually misbehaving. That's good, Fractal. Fractal's living the dream, you know. And by the way, I have to get a shout out here to Katie Griboski. Katie, your show, MUFON What's Up, on KGRA Radio, KGRAdb.com, and StreamYard. KGRAdb will be StreamYard. Can you put a time, please, in the chat? Tell people when your show is. She's the host of a show on KGRA called MUFON What's Up, and she's a host with Katie Cook and Chris DePerno.
Isabella's here.
And Isabella's here. Hi, Izabela.
Hello, Isabella.
Katie, put your link in. Just type it in. Don't worry. Tell people, or just tell people where you. There you go. Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday nights. Thanks, Darrell. I was just testing you.
Yeah, right.
I know, right? Tuesday nights, 8 to 10, MUFON What's Up with Katie Griboski, Katie Cook, and Chris DePerno. So, it's a great show. I had the pleasure of being on it once already, and it was really a fun time. They're very, very good people, and they're very good researchers as well. Katie is an exceptional researcher. You guys need to know that. Hey, Zadarek. So now that we have our perfectly focused stars here, why don't we actually go check some things out? Now, we do have a moon that's just past first quarter, so that means from our perspective here on the Earth, it looks like it's just past halfway lit up. But for the record, the moon's always halfway lit. As a sphere, right? It's always halfway lit. But we're so used to thinking about the moon being, just like a quarter lit because it's a quarter the way around and it's first quarter. People get confused with that, but anyway. And I'll do it if I want to, Katie, because it's true. She says, "Oh, stop." I was just saying she's a good researcher. You know, hey, if the shoe fits, wear it.
What you said earlier, you thought maybe I could describe this field. What's the cluster called?
This, oh yeah, let me back out. This is called the heart-shaped cluster.
Okay, and you said you didn't see the heart shape.
I don't, so I'm going to back out so everybody can see the cluster as a whole. Here's the cluster.
All right, just a little left of center.
Is this it?
Yes, it is. You don't see
Oh, I do now.
that? Yeah, the two lobes at the top, they're a little sparser, but
Yeah,
and the point of the heart is the richer part of the cluster,
yeah,
pointing toward the bottom.
yeah. Okay, I stand corrected. Very nice. It's very good, you know. What I'll do
Sure.
is I'm going to just richen this up a little bit. Play with the data, reaching the sensor. It's a little too much. That's way too much. I still have my delays because we don't have the Starlink yet. I mean, it is out there, but we're not hooked into the server yet out there. You do have a lot of fun out there, Katie. I think that your show's really good. They do a MUFON UFO case of the week, which Katie presides over. It's really cool. I can't say I always agree with whether something's a UFO or not, but that's just me. It's better than people not doing any work at all. You know? And they don't just believe it. You know, they actually research it. And I admire them for that. Ginger ale. Oh, and look at that. Our first crap.
Not anymore, they're not.
Yeah, I just deleted them too. Well, you know what's funny is well, sorry. What's funny is I watch these people do that, and I feel like, hey, is that a sign of success? Is that a sign that we're reaching more people, that we start getting spam? In a way, maybe it is. I don't know. All right, so this is the heart-shaped cluster. Okay, it's also known as Messier 50. All right, it's Messier 50, the heart-shaped cluster. All right, and if you want to see where it is in the sky, let me bring up our planetarium here again. Zip, and you'll see that it's right up here. There's the star Sirius, and it's a little bit north and east of Sirius. Remember, that way is east, and that way is where the sun sets. That's west. Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Let's do M41 next.
Hey, why not?
It's right in the neighborhood there, little Beehive.
Yes, it is. I was looking at that one yesterday as well. That's right down here. So here we're going to go. We're going to go to the little Beehive now, and when we do that, it's probably going to use the star Sirius as its waypoint star. I'm going to call them waypoints from now on. So here we go, and you won't see the telescope move that much because Sirius is nearby. All right, so here comes the star. That doesn't look bright enough to be Sirius, but maybe it is.
Oh, I think that's Sirius.
Oh yeah, it is. I can see that. Yeah. I think I had my sensitivity a little bit lower than I should have.
You know, Sirius is a double star,
Mm-hmm.
and it's presently at its maximum separation from its secondary. If we had some focal length, we could try to split the two. The problem is Sirius primary there is about 10,000 times brighter than the secondary.
Yeah, we would need almost an occulting disc.
Yeah.
Messier 41, guys. This is what's called the little Beehive. If we stick around enough, you'll see the real Beehive cluster. Yeah. Katie says, I get Mark's skeptical opinion. LOL. I value your expertise. You know what? I understand, Katie. But it won't hurt my feelings if you don't listen to what I think something is. I've developed a real thick skin because you can't imagine how many people have attacked me over the years. You've never attacked me, don't get me wrong. But people do not like to hear that their special photograph of a UFO isn't, or may not be. They do not want to hear that. Okay, let me... Okay, this is an open cluster, so... when we call them open clusters, we talk about open clusters, right? And here it is right here, little Beehive open cluster. We usually use the term, the letters OC for open cluster. Planetary Nebula is PN, okay? Supernova is SN, and so forth. Diffuse Nebula is DN. Emission Nebula is EN. Like the Orion Nebula is an EN. It's also an RN, a Reflection Nebula. So, there's a few things we'll do. Here, let's move our cluster over a little bit. Slide over, will you? Make some room. Yeah, make some room here. All right, and this is again the little Beehive. We're gonna move this up.
Also known as M41, Messier 41.
Messier 41, that's right. Alright, let's do this. Add that in.
Excuse me, that was my chair creaking.
Uh-huh. We all know what it really was.
My chair creaking.
Yeah, did you see the satellite go through just a few minutes ago?
I did.
Alright, let's just do a fun 35-second photo of this cluster. This will be neat. And what we'll do is, this is my hybrid view. Let's just pop that off. So there we go. We'll go down to a normalized view and jump into a live stack. All right. And we know the name that we're looking at now. So we'll just pop that out of there and clear this right now. Okay. This is the old stuff. And you watch the progress bar over here. You can see how long it takes for us to get this image. And it's pretty cool. Yeah, so we have 3 seconds left and then we'll see our image. What do we got? That's pretty. Now let's just do a little processing on it. Whip it into shape here. Okay, color correct that so that we get proper colors. Okay, and then we can actually start to move our black level over to just sort of get rid of the background, make it a little more black like it should be. Just to show the cluster better. And soften up the detail a little bit. Here we go. Oh, hey, hello there. Hello, Starlink.
Zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Starlink upon you. Yep. But as you know, those types of trails very quickly get subdued because they're crossing black space. And the next picture, there's black space there because the satellite light streak was only in one frame. So as those frames are added together, because we're stacking, that black of space will eventually overtake it. And as you can see, it's already getting dimmer. It's all called signal to noise ratio. Very nice here. Yeah, see, that's pretty. Look at that thing. Let's get out of here in this regard. Let me make it so this goes away. And same with this. So that'll be now an auto hide. And now what we can do is we can just pull this out. Come here. There you go. And now we can see it full screen. Not quite. Let me just help it a little bit more. Let's say 50% to it. A little less. Now that's pretty. You gotta admit.
Pretty cluster.
It is a beautiful cluster. That's right. And again, the object we're looking at here is called the Little Beehive Messier 41 in Canis Major, the big dog that is Orion's hunting dog. How nice. Yeah, Katie says that line is Starlink. Yeah, they go through on diagonals, Katie. And it's a very high likelihood now that that's Starlink. I used to be able to take pictures all night long and not see a single satellite except maybe once a month. Now we get multiples every minute. It's really quite a lot more stuff up there, you know. Fractal Frog says, "Can you compile all the noise into one image?" Actually, we're kind of doing that now, Fractal. What we're having, we're taking an image, and then we're taking a second image, aligning it with the first, and then stacking the data. And we keep doing that, making an image sandwich over and over. Right now, if you look, if I go into the stack here for a second, you can see how many I'm stacking right here. See that? It says that I've stacked 7 shots so far right there. Okay, that's 7 shots I've stacked. So with each stack, the random noise that isn't part of any signal is getting wiped out, averaged out. That's what we're seeing. And that's why, for instance, the satellite trail is getting dimmer as we look here.
Izabela asked a question, Mark. I answered her. You might like to expand on it some.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, at the observatory, Izabela. Darrell's never been to the observatory. Not yet, anyway. But the Starlink is at the observatory, and it is operating for the people who live out there. And, we're taking care of that expense because they're being very generous about allowing us to be on their land with the observatory. But I'm waiting for an Ethernet adapter. The cord you plug into the wall for the Ethernet, for like internet. Well, that's like a phone jack on steroids. Well, that jack used to be on the back of the Starlink router, and you just plug into it. They took it off, and they made it Wi-Fi only, and that was a curve we didn't see coming. So when we got the router, we also had to then spend another $25 to get this special adapter that will allow us to plug into the bottom of the router and then plug in what's called an Ethernet switch, so we can plug in all kinds of these little things so we can get our internet and more. Kind of crazy, But so that's what we're waiting for.
Always something.
I know. But you know what? You can't deny that this is a successful technology, isn't it? Look. We're using satellite and internet now. It's just slow. But for what we're doing, it doesn't matter that much for what we're doing. But you will see that this trail is actually almost gone now, you notice? I mean, that's because that's stacking only 11 of them so far. You can see the number stacked right here, too, at the bottom over there. Right here. 11 stacked. All right. Temperature of the sensor is minus 10 Celsius. And that's because we are cooling the sensor. A cooled sensor, actually the cooled core of the camera, is hyper-cooled. And the reason it's cooled is because a cool sensor won't allow so much digital noise. And the digital noise is the stuff you see when you zoom way in. Now, if you think that if we go to 300% here, okay, if you look at 300%, okay, if you think this is sort of noisy in here, all right, you haven't seen anything yet. You wouldn't even recognize stars if it was an uncooled sensor. Going to 300% right here. This is actually not that bad for 300%. We can actually go to 800%. Let's try that. Wow.
Marianne is here.
Marianne, Rob. How you doing? There's Marianne. Hi. Hey, Marianne. Katie's here. Say hi to Katie as well. Marianne knows Katie. And there we go. So this is our auto feature. Let's let's come out of this. I'm gonna push you back. Get over there. I see my telescope. There we go. So we got the telescope there. Telescope control system is up here. And then over here we have a flyout, which is our camera control system here. right? And telescope computer is right there. And I'm going to get out of that. So I don't need that. There we are. How pretty. Okay, we're going to stop this at 15, and it's going to be done in a second. You see, you may wonder, why am I stacking star clusters? And the answer is because star clusters also suffer from degradation, and you should also stack those as well, because look at the beauty you get out of them. So beautiful. Okay, so this cluster is called Measure 41. All right, but we're going to say M41. That's the name. Not M42, M41. Not M4021. All right. That's that 1 second lag time, which is killing me. That'll go away here. Okay, and now we can go save this. And you'll see the green bar across the top, indicating that the astronomical fits file has been saved. And then I will be saving this exactly as you see it on the screen. And I've noticed the internet is a lot better for our server, and so now within just a few minutes this very photo and the raw imagery will be up on the server. Okay, and either Darrell or Izabela, thank you so much, both of you, will put up the link to the server so you can get to it. It's a live server, so it changes moment to moment as we do stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. Marianne Katie asked about the stars on your trip. She says I bet they were amazing. Marianne was in Kauai, so I think that unless she went to a real dark place on Kauai, I don't know what she had for stars. I also asked both Marianne and Tara, who was also there with her. Tara's still there. Thank you, Izabela. I asked both of them, check out the sky there and see what it's like, and maybe see if we can get an observatory out there. Where are you going? I gotta go to Hawaii to do maintenance on the observatory. Oh, yeah, as if. Yeah. Okay. So that's M41 saved and put to sleep for the evening. So we will clear this now and get rid of our stack and go back to our 1 second shots, and then hyper it so we can see the finder view. All right, and instead of 35 seconds, we're just going to go down on the 1 second again. And pop up our sensitivity. Boom. Okay. Don't worry about this reddish color. That's just, what it happens to be doing now. Okay. All right. So let's now go. Let's go over and check out something else. There's so much. Every one of these objects is something to see here. Normally we would look for things like dark nebula and things. But when the moon is out like it is now, it's past first quarter. So it's not really the best viewing. But there are certain things that can show well. One of them is this thing we're going to see right now. M46 it's called. All right. So we're going to go there. And right next to Measure 46 is another open cluster called Measure 47. And Measure 47 and Measure 46 can be in the same field with this particular telescope. Looks beautiful. So we will see that. We are now doing high precision slewing, as you can see right there. And it's going to be Asmoditsky, which is a star that it's going to center up and then use that as a jumping off place to go to our spot over here, which is right there. This red box is the size of our telescope field, so we should, and the thing that's important is where the telescope icon goes. You'll see the scope icon, there it is, right there in the middle. You see it says scope on it, and that tells us where we are. That is M46 right there, and the scope says that it is a little bit above. But here is Measure 47, and here is Measure 46. And we'll just move over a little so you can see that. 2 clusters for the price of 1. Yeah.
I think that's M47.
This here?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I have to bring this up more. That's yet another one. So yeah, you can see young sets of stars that are born in the universe. Just beautiful. Okay, and now if we go and bring this over a little bit, interestingly, you'll notice, well, here's a cluster, and here's a cluster, and then this cluster has this little guy in it. That's a dead star that shows a nebula around it known as a PN, a planetary nebula. And that planetary nebula is an indicator that there was a star there that is quite old, and it's used up all its hydrogen, gone through its red giant stage, collapsed back down to just a white dwarf, which we'll see when we zoom in. And this location, though, has a young star cluster in it. So how could an old star be in a young cluster? And the answer is, it's not. That star that died is way up here, and the cluster is way back here. So it's just a line of sight thing, see? Because remember, you're seeing the universe in 3D. So now what we'll do is we'll go and focus only on Measure 46. We're going to bring it over here. And then bring it up into the field some more. There we go. Your sister's on Maui?
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, I guess you did. How come you don't visit?
It's a long story. I don't want to go into.
Because you got Haleakala on Maui.
Yeah. Someday I might visit.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. And what I'll do is I will zoom in a little bit on this. Just a bit. Let's go to, say, 50%. Okay. And then we'll move over a little bit. We're going to move this westward. And you'll notice that even going to 50%, in the center of our little planetary nebula, you see this little dot. Well, that dot is the white dwarf star that is powering and making this nebula around the star glow. It's ionizing this oxygen and hydrogen gas around the star that remains in the star's envelope, and it's making it glow. And that star is far away. It's actually 2,000 light years away. The cluster behind it, and it truly is behind it, is another 2,000 light years further away. So they look like this, but they're like this when you separate them. And but that star in the center of that cluster, center of that planetary nebula, 2,000 light years away, that star is only the size of the Earth. But we can see it from this far away because it's so immensely, powerfully bright. That's what's amazing about this particular one. Darrell, if you want to add anything, feel free. I'm going to just type in.
Yeah, stars in the cluster tend to be about the same age because they all formed about the same time when the cluster did. And they are younger stars. The planetary nebula is much older because it formed from an old star, and there's just a line of sight thing that we happen to see. The planetary appears to be in the cluster, but it's actually much closer.
Yeah, I'm going to do we'll do a 30-second shot of this and then stack it as well, because I want you to see that star up close. And the thing is, sometimes 30 seconds on an object like this might be too long. So we might have to go back and do this again and cut it down.
Sometimes when we look at the Planetary and M46, we can zoom in on it and see some detail inside the
yeah.
Planetary.
Oops. I think we I didn't wait long enough to get my guide star. My apologies. I think this one will be okay. I have to wait about 11 to 14 seconds for the guide star to lock on. So I'm going to guess this one's going to be better. Nope, I don't know what's going on.
Are you on hyper?
No, the stars are a little bit elongated. It is on hyper mode too, but it's they should not be elongated. So I'm gonna. I think I might know what this is. But look at it, it's beautiful. That nebula looks beautiful. We're gonna be beautifully focused on it once I get this thing right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming down out of the out of that mode. It might have been a little bit of a breeze out there. I know there's some wind once in a while that catches that telescope like a sail and just starts pushing it around. Look at that though. We're getting a lot of detail in there. We're gonna clear this one more time, and I'm gonna hope that this one is gonna be perfect.
When you see the Planetary, that's a very characteristic color. That greenish color, that's a color of doubly ionized oxygen.
Yep. That's what we call a forbidden line. It can't be reproduced on the Earth. It only occurs in what's called a rarefied gas, where there's very few atoms of the gas per cubic centimeter. On Earth, we have 10 to the 27th atoms in a single cubic centimeter, but in space we might have at most 3,000 atoms per cubic centimeter. That's not a lot of atoms. Alright, so let's zoom in on this now. Let's go right to 100% and check what's going on here, make sure we're doing alright.
Izabela, we missed the opportunity for a Messier Marathon this month. The prime date for it would have been last weekend, or last week when the moon was new or near new, and the moon's too bright now.
Yeah.
The next time will be, I want to say the first weekend or the first Saturday in April. And
we're going to have to do it.
Yeah, it's actually past the peak by then. It's after the spring equinox, and it'll be more light than dark in the sky by then, and we may miss some objects. That's the secondary chance, is first weekend in April.
Okay, let's take down the brightness on this a little bit and pull out some detail in that nebula.
Marianne, my sister, sent me a hula girl for the dashboard of my car, and what's neat is it's solar powered. So she sits there and dances nonstop with the solar energy.
I wish Marianne could put in a link, because she bought a hula guy for her dashboard. Yeah. She had to go and be a tourist. Wow. Okay, I'm going to try to get a little more detail out of this. Gotta drop that dark level just enough so we can actually catch what's going on inside this nebula.
Pterodactyl Frog wants to see the Pleiades.
Oh man, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I know it's getting over in the west.
Yeah. And the moon, with the moon as bright as it is, what it does is it creates sort of a low-grade blue sky. You know, for the same reason that the sun does. And so the Pleiades have a nebulae around them that are have a nebula around them that's blue. So you'll have trouble seeing it. Katie Griboski says, I wear a fanny pack when I'm a tourist and I'm proud of it. Oh, that's funny. That's right, Marianne. You can say you have your Hawaiian guide because Tara bought it for you. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Yeah. So as you can see, there's that white dwarf in the middle of this beautiful planetary nebula. Yep. And that's like 50,000 Kelvin. That's a very, very hot stellar core remnant. Now, over time, the white dwarf will cool off. It's not doing fusion anymore. This is just the latent heat from the collapse. Right? There's no fusion going on in this star anymore. But if it was a binary star, then you could be drawing gas onto its surface from the binary once it goes into a red giant. And when it does, the red giant will likely expand beyond something called its Roche lobe, and that's the demarcation point where material can almost float away from the star. And when it reaches that point, if there's another star in orbit around this star, that stuff can cross that little tiny gap between the stars and start filtering onto the surface of the white dwarf. And if it does that, then the white dwarf can acquire more mass. And the problem with that is if the white dwarf becomes just a little over 1.4 times the mass of the sun, then you can get a runaway fusion on the surface. And you can also have another kind of a supernova where that star can explode. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. This is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just I'll pause it for now. We did 10. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna save this. Okay, and actually before I do that, I gotta make a note of what it is. This is Measure 46. Alright. Open Cluster Planetary Nebula. I had that one predefined. Alright, and now I'll save this. Okay, and then we will save the image exactly as we see it here. Yeah. What's that, Marianne? She says, Joe versus Volcano. That's a funny movie. Yes, Mark, you saw my Facebook pic. I found my real Hawaiian fishing guy. You talking about your little dancer? Your private dancer? It's a private dancer, dancer for money. I don't know the song. Okay, so we got that. And now we can get M46 out of here and clear this stack. Alright, now let's go back and set up for a 1 second shot again. I'm going to automate some of this stuff as well later. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Alright, so 1 second. And give me a little hybrid view here. I got a little hybrid finder view. And now let's go right there. Okay. And now from here, where shall we go? Haha. Well, where can't we go? We can go everywhere. There's so many clusters to see here. It's just beautiful. We're actually pretty, we're below the equator. We're 15 degrees below the equator. So we actually have other things we can see. And I mean, since we're talking about hot objects, why don't we actually take a look at Thor's helmet? Even though the moon is out, Thor's helmet will look nice.
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah.
Mark, excuse me a moment, please.
Sure, go ahead. Okay, telescope is moving, as you can see right there. And we're zipping over to our waypoint star, which looks like it's going to be Sirius again. That's a Sirius star. Gosh, what a terrible joke. Oh, Marianne, that's right. You have your Hawaiian guy that you took a picture with. Yes, the one that was playing a ukulele. Like Brother is. Kamakavivoli. That's Israel Kamakavivoli. I liked Brother is very much. Excuse me. Uh-oh. A single drop of water, but it'll do. Alright, well there is Thor's helmet, and we're going to move it up into the view. Now that we have our critical focus system operating and our autofocus system operating, we'll just check our focus and make sure that it's okay before we go deeper. Yeah, WR104. WR stands for Wolf Rayet, and that's amazing you asked that. I think you know this fantasy, maybe that's why you asked. This star we see right here is a Wolf Rayet star that's caused this bubble right here. All right, and let's just check our focus. In fact, what I'll do is I will do our focus routine, but first, to do that, I want to refine my focus. As you can see, I've got plenty of stars. Alright, so to refine the focus, what I'm going to do is... where's the focus controls? Oh, where'd they go? Are they down here? Oh, duh. It's under here. Okay. And now we're going to pop out the focus and run it out of focus intentionally. And the reason we're going to do that is because I want to have it reset the focus to a very good level. And so you can see now that it's out of focus. So we're going to run and scan these stars that it's selected, and it's going to bring the focus down to a level where the star image is the smallest. And in my star focusing algorithm here, which is a full width half maximum algorithm, it's actually making selected focus points, and it's going to build an equation basically, and it's going to do a curve fitting where it's going to actually find the minimum value in this curve, and that minimum value is going to be the actual best focus position. So you see it's up high, and then it comes down, and then it starts going up again. See? So at the bottom of that curve, this is the theoretical best focus position right now. And it says 47,639. And our focus we have right now is 47,248. So that's going to change momentarily. We're at 12 of 13 iterations. And at the end of that, we're going to tell it to go to the best position. And there it is. We're done. And there's our curve. That looks a really nice curve. And that would say best position. And this line's going to come riding down the curve, go to the other side, and then come back to center. All right, you watch the stars. And when it comes back to center, we now have a crisply, perfectly focused image. All right. And after that, what we do is we re-engage our temperature correction. Here we go. Yeah. Hey there, Science Bob. How are you? Andy, I didn't say hi to you. Hello, Andy Morrow. Okay, so let's now do a... let's try 45 seconds. I can't stand these delays. Okay. Okay, 45 seconds. All right, and then we'll minimize and go to our live stack. Welcome back, Darrell.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I had a few things I had to attend to.
That's all right. Shibin BS, how are you? Papa Tom, what's going on? Welcome to SkyTour live stream. This is our playground. Telescope control is right here. Telescope itself in the building, 2,500 miles from here, is right there. This is the main view, which we magnify and do all kinds of great things with. This is our fly-out camera view over here with all our parameters. And this is our live stacking view down below. We're almost done with our first exposure, and there it is, Thor's helmet. Wow, look at that. That looks pretty nice. Let's zoom in a little. Let's go to 75%.
See a little color beyond the green.
Yeah, right there. We got a little wind out there tonight.
You were mentioning sometime earlier about what were you going to do to get more color out of Thor's helmet?
Got to do longer exposures. Saturate, bring more of those fainter colors in, which we'll do. We will do this. I'm going to clear this one because we had a little wind affecting this. Let's see if this one has wind in it now. Hey there, OG Skywatch. What's happening? Hey, Shibin, thank you. I'm glad you're having a good time. It's fantastic. Glad to see you here. Let's see how this looks now. Yeah, we still got some wind out there. All right, let me try something here. I'm going to make an adjustment to the auto guider. Try to give it a little bit. I'm gonna do this. Actually, that number is okay. Actually, but this one here, I'm gonna take it back down from 14 to 12% correction. All right, now we'll clear and see if that helps me in combating any wind that's going on out there. Partial exposure has been done, so if there's any errors, it'll still be in there, but the next one, we'll see. welcome to astronomy, you know. Hey there, Tim F. Nice to see you. All right. Let's see what this looks like. Anxious. Yeah, still giving me trouble. All right. Let's try a higher value. All right. We're going to try a higher value. I'm just trying to set the guiding parameters. It's only a 35-second exposure. It should not be a problem. No, wait. I said 45, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. This is probably going to be the good one. All right. This one looks like it'll be the good one. Let's darken up the background. Bring this object out a little more. And bring out the colors of Thor's helmet. Let's also color correct the background. There we go. All right. Yeah, okay, it's getting better. All right. So we can just drag this up a little more now. Look at that. That's Thor's helmet now. Do you see this too? There's a lot more stuff out here that we have to catch still. That's why a longer exposure will really capture a great deal more. And we're going to let this one go for a bit because we've got two stacked now, and you'll see the noise in between here go away little by little as we stack. That's that signal, and the noise is going to go away. Katie says a long duration C3.1 solar flare peaked yesterday at 2055 Universal Time. The solar flare came from the sunspot region 2962. A coronal mass ejection was launched to space, highly likely to arrive at Earth. What will this do, she asked. That could create some really cool auroras. We probably wouldn't see them in Arizona, but we might see them here in Connecticut. And if we do, I will do an auroral stream from Connecticut. It's really amazing how that works. But what happens is those highly charged particles from the sun, when we say particles, what do we mean? We mean nuclei. We mean protons and electrons, which are what's in the sun's outer atmosphere. It's too hot for atoms to exist there, so the electrons are pushed off the atom and ionized, meaning that the atoms just have their nuclei. And those particles, those atomic particles, stream toward the Earth in an ongoing way. And when they reach the Earth, they get caught in our magnetic field. And of course, that's what gives rise to what we call our radiation belts, the Van Allen radiation belts. However, some of those particles stream around the North Pole and the South Pole and then stream down into the upper atmosphere at the North Pole. As they stream through the sky, they stream through oxygen and nitrogen atoms, and when they do that, they cause those atoms to glow. And they glow a characteristic green, they glow a characteristic red sometimes, nitrogen, and they sometimes glow purple. It's a strange new aurora called Steve. Well, actually, Steve's not an aurora, but Steve is an actual name of an oddity that occurs in the upper atmosphere. But you get green curtains that shimmer, and they cross the night sky in just mere fractions of a second sometimes, because these are moving fast. So they're really cool the way they come in, you know. So that's what we'll see, Katie, and it's actually pretty cool. It won't fry our brains. It could mess with our phones, and it could mess with our satellites. Whenever solar flares strike the atmosphere expands a little bit, And the low Earth satellites, like the Starlink satellites, by the way, can be affected by it. You may remember that just recently, 40 of the Starlink satellites were brought down by a solar flare expanding the atmosphere. I think it was a solar flare, wasn't it, Darrell? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was a flare.
Yeah, and the atmosphere expanded and caused excessive drag that the satellites couldn't fight. And then those satellites came down. So that's just something that happens, and it's one of the perils of spaceflight. But it's okay. It's okay. So we won't fry our brains, but we will suffer some potential power disruptions too, because another thing that happens is those particles coming down the North Pole, they go into the rock strata, when they reach the ground. And the rock strata in many places consist of basalt, which is a lava-based rock, and it's conductive. And so you get these ground currents moving through the rock strata. And then they move into light towers. They move into substations as they travel along the geology. Because you put your towers on this bedrock, don't you? Well, that overloads systems, and it's responsible for such problems. Such solar problems are responsible for blackouts and things that have happened in the past, power outages that have lasted for days. So a lot of really interesting things have happened because of this.
If you've ever heard of the Carrington event,
there you go.
That was, I guess, an X-class solar flare. Happened back in 1859, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
And it took out telegraph systems all over the world.
Yep.
And if they were as technologically advanced back then as we are now, or if we were to experience an X-class flare equivalent to or stronger than the Carrington event, it could set us back decades.
Yeah, I mean that's the popular belief, and so they could be dangerous. And Katie, you're right. The X-class, she writes in there, the X are the ones you have to worry about. And yes, in fact, but X-class flares, okay, the other flares, like the C flare you mentioned, there's M-class, okay. X-class, of course, as you know, are the highest, but the X-class is one of the few where you actually have a large scale. You can have an X5, an X10, an X30, an X50, they vary in their intensity. But the smallest X-class flare is many times the size of the immediate predecessor. So that is something to consider. Look at this thing. Look at this, Darrell. Yeah. Look at this. Well, Thor's helmet's looking really pretty tonight.
Yeah, I can see the 5 different
lobes
of it.
Here, let's pull that out and check it out, man. I want to see that. Look at that. That's really something.
Fantasy, what about WR104? Mark, he said he asked you about that while I was gone.
Yeah, the Wolf-Rayet star is supposed to go supernova.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking, WR.
Yeah.
It was close enough.
This Wolf-Rayet star right there, okay, that is the star that's causing this bubble, all right? But you notice there's more stuff out here and out there and down below and over there. And so, you look at this Wolf-Rayet star and you go, wow, how did that make that? And the answer is that it was over a period of time in multiple outbursts from the star, And the ones on the outside were probably similarly cohesive as the inner bubble that we see now, but maybe over time it's expanded and mixed with other stuff in the interstellar medium and just started to be dragged out over time. So that's a strong possibility. This is beautiful. I don't even have any enhancements on here. I'm going to add some enhancement. All right, so let's add this unsharp mask at a 1 pixel radius and see what that gives us. That's pretty, but I want to do a little, well, I think that's good. Hello there, Gabrielle F. How are you, Gabrielle? You're welcome. So, sorry, Darrell, go ahead.
Gabrielle. We had a run of auroras here in Colorado 20 years or so ago. It was really amazing. They happened a lot this far south. And there were nights that the astronomy club, I'd get an alert via email. Everybody was headed to a site we had relatively close outside town where we'd go to watch stuff on short notice, and went out there, and there were a few times where it was so darn bright we could see it right here in the city.
Wow.
And it was just super spectacular. Greens and reds and really bright, and not just in the north, that was like overhead, and really tremendous. I haven't seen auroras since then. Again, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I saw that same one. It came down as far as Washington, D.C., and I was in Connecticut. The radiant was over my head. I saw them streaming in all directions, directly up. Like I was inside of a star tunnel. It was just amazing. Aurora tunnel. Science Bob asked, is the Starlink connection working yet? It is in the desert. It is working in the compound where the observatory is located, but our observatory building is not wired into the Starlink router yet because we need to be able to connect the Ethernet cable to the router, and the previous versions of the Starlink router came with Ethernet cables and Ethernet connections, but the newest ones are Wi-Fi only, which was like short-circuited us. So we have to wait a couple more weeks to get our Ethernet adapter that we need specifically for Starlink, and then we will. We'll be using 100 megabits per second download, 40 megabits per second upload. Right now, you know what we're doing this on? Doing this to you, we've been surviving on 2 megabits per second upload. And the upload's the one for us because we're shipping all the data out of the observatory up to the servers, out to you on the screens. All right. And we're doing that at 2 megabits per second. We're really optimizing the crap out of the data, to be fair. So I think that speaks volumes. And hey there, Bonnie. Bonnie's here on Ahata 77. One of the things that we can't do now is I can't save all the individual frames that we stack, so that you could stack them individually if you wanted to. But as soon as the Starlink system is out there, then that's exactly what we can do, and you can get all the raw data frame by frame and stack them all yourself. Instead of just getting a final stack from me, you can get the individual frames, or the stack, or the pretty pictures. So you're gonna get more stuff. Telling you, it's just not going to end. The biggest premium is going to be on computer space and cloud space. And we're making a sliding window out of our online server. So the earliest stuff is sliding off and getting dropped off to make way for the newest stuff. Hey, DK, thank you. Oh, thanks, man. DK. DK says, best live stream on YouTube. Thanks, brother. That's really cool. I very much appreciate hearing that. I mean, there is nobody doing this. There really is nobody doing Deep Sky. This is live stuff. This is live. And, I just find it to be... I never get tired of it. One of these days we're going to catch something different in one of these objects we've been viewing. That's the thing. Okay, this is a zoom in. This magnification right now, it says right there, you see it up here, 100%? This is the native size of our sensor. Okay? All these other images where they're shrunk down, that's just fitting to the page. The sensor goes bigger than the top and bottom and the sides by far. So that's what's going on here. We've got all this extra room out here. Okay, even more. We got, it goes on and on out to, even beyond this. And so the sensor is huge. And we just fit it to the page, And then when we fit it to the page, you think, well, that's the little tiny picture it takes. It's a huge picture. You know, we can take this, and I can actually up-res these images that are made so they can actually be printed and put on a wall of any size and become like a gigantic Thor's helmet, 6 feet tall. And it'll be, you know, it can be sharper focused than this, as a matter of fact, because we can operate on that too to even make it sharper. But it's just crazy. We can do all kinds of stuff with this. You know? Fantasy, hope you're doing good. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. I apologize. Okay, we've done 20 of these, and we're going to halt this now. All right? And so we're going to pause it. And I'm going to, while it's paused, I'm going to come up here and put in the object. Okay. So I'm trying to be more diligent about doing processes in a certain order. Thor's helmet. All right. And now we can save it. Okay, now this saves our astronomical fits file. And then Science Bob, we're going to talk about that in a second. Then we're going to save it exactly as seen. Look at all this additional detail in here. I think this is probably one of the best views we've ever had. It's the first view we've ever had of Thor's helmet where we actually used high precision focusing, automated robotic focusing. And so now we've got that going. And that's making sure we can see every little detail. Look at that little tiny star in there. I mean, this is stuff we just didn't have access to before, guys. This is all new. Everything is changing. The times are changing. And it's all for the good, Captain. All right. All right, well, we got this. It'll be up there as Thor's helmet on the server in a few minutes. And then I can clear this now. I always hate clearing these, it's like, oh, why get rid of it? It's so pretty. Because there's prettier to come. All right, so now let's go over here and we'll do 1 second again. And then go into our Hyper Finder view. Okay. All right. And get rid of the stack because we don't need it anymore. At least not now. All right. So there's Thor's helmet as you might see it in a telescope with your eyepiece. Bigger light bucket, maybe see more of it. Have you seen Thor's helmet before?
Who, me?
Yeah. In a telescope?
I don't recall. Probably not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's drop this down to an automated setting here. Let's go to auto. So now we're going to take that big frame and just fill this little square with it. All right. So now that we've done that, let's get back our computer here. And let me get back down in the corner where I belong. I'm glad you like this, Science Bob. Now, about your Hyperstar. Science Bob says, I got Hyperstar working on a 14-inch. I shot M81 and M82, and I caught a satellite that took 180 seconds, I assume, to cross the frame. Okay. Yeah, 180 seconds is actually... I mean, you could find some that actually will take many, many minutes to cross the frame, or split seconds, depending on, well, not split seconds, but at that size, that field. You're probably looking at satellites that are about 200 miles up that are crossing, very, very fast. But you also can see geostationary satellites. And what you do is, if you actually are tracking the stars, you might see a little tiny dash in your image. And you say, that's a slowly moving satellite. Actually, In a sense it is, in a sense it's not. It's actually over the same spot on Earth. You're rotating out from under it because you're on the rotating Earth, right? But that satellite is staying in the same relative position. You're tracking the stars, right? So if you were to stop tracking the stars, then the stars would make a trail and you'd see pinpoints for the geostationary satellites. It's the opposite. Isn't that cool? Think it through. So that's really neat. Hey there, Cindy Murphy. I said hi to you, Cindy, even though you said hi to Darrell. Didn't say hi to me. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm not hurt. All right, let's see here. What else do we have now? We got, I don't know, was there a few things we can go see, maybe? Well, there's actually one. Even though the moon is very close to it, I wonder. Might be Barnard's Loop coming up here.
Fantasy. I am sadly way out of date on camera attachments and such. Back in the days of film, I could have told you, but nowadays, camera to 1 1/4 piece eyepiece attachment.
Wow.
There's still standard size. You know, you might think about going a 2-inch rather than a 1 1/4. You would probably be using the camera more at prime focus without an eyepiece than you ever would with an eyepiece, in which case the 2-inch mount would give you a greater, field of view. Other than that, you probably ought to talk to somebody
Starizona.
more up to date on. Yeah, Starizona.
Starizona.
Like
Starizona is located in Tucson.
OPT.
Yeah. But Starizona is located in Tucson, and they're actually very, very, very good, very knowledgeable. You get them on the phone, they will tell you exactly what you need once you tell them what equipment you have. It's not like a B&H photo. I actually had issues with OPT not giving me information that I needed, So, but it's all right. So this is Alnitak and Alnilam. This is the left star in the belt, and this is the next star up in the belt. And Mintaka is out of the shot by about the same amount as the distance from Alnitak to Alnilam. This is the Flame Nebula, and this is the Horsehead. The Horsehead is a little bit of a dark nebula. We have the bright moon right nearby, but you know what? We're going to try it. Why not? I think it was a little wind that we have, but you know something? We'll see what we can get. Starizona's on the web too, of course. Fantasy, so check it out. The guy that runs Starizona is Dean Koenig. If you do call and you get someone there, you might get a guy named Steve or Dave. Tell him you're talking to me, and that you were, watching one of our SkyTour live streams. And you're asking us about stuff, They've been very, very helpful to us. They actually repaired this very telescope when it went haywire the very first time we installed it out in the desert. That was the worst day I've ever had. Plug it in and it starts going, woo, woo, woo. Like, what are you doing? Stop! It just went absolutely nuts. Okay. We're going to wait about 11 seconds, 12 seconds. We're there. Let's just do a 45-second shot. Why does it do that? Why does it do that? I keep highlighting that field. 45-second shot. I did it again. I'm in that field. It won't let me do it. Come on now. Don't be playing with me. Maybe I'm going too fast. Maybe I'm going too fast. 45-second shot, and away we go. Yeah, we bought the Hyperstar from Dean at Starizona. I'm sure Science Bob says the Hyperstar is fantastic. They told me what I was doing wrong. They are great. Yeah, they are. Yep, all the folks at Starizona are wonderful people. Their business is actually in a strip mall, but they do big B&H size work. Okay, trust me. It's really a great place. And everybody there knows what the heck they're talking about. You know, I purposely try to test people to know whether I'm getting good service or not. And these guys, they never fail. They're just like perfect. It's like, wow, I give up. You win. Look at that. Well, that's with the bright moon just above. Not bad for a bright moon. And the next image, when it comes in, it's going to cause a lot of this noise here that you see, this mottled, rough-looking sandpaper type background to go away. So you've got 19 seconds for that, actually about 15 seconds now. And so when you watch this, you just watch this area right here, or this area right here, wherever I'm pointing. Just watch the dark. Ready? And watch how it gets diminished almost magically. Ready? Here it goes. Did you see that? You notice how most of it's gone now and everything is starting to look clearer? Look at that. There's one of your favorite stars, Darrell.
Yes, I know.
Sigma Orionis.
Sigma Orionis is beautiful in the eyepiece. At pretty good magnification. It's the wiki article on Sigma says it's 6 stars. You'll see at least 4 by eye through the eyepiece. A couple of them are really close to their primaries, and a couple are spectroscopic binaries too, if I remember correctly. But it's tremendous view in the eyepiece.
There's Sigma right there.
Yep.
Hey, I can tell you, this is beautiful.
And Sigma is what is emitting the radiation that's causing the hydrogen there behind the Horsehead to fluoresce.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And then Alnitak is thought to be the reason why the Flame Nebula here is glowing the way it is. Ionized hydrogen, the electrons jump off the atom, and when they come back into the atom, they give off light as they sink into the atom. They give off energy, which is light, and that light is characteristically red. So we see red imagery throughout the universe. And blue, like this.
Did we ever figure out why the flame is a different color than that behind the Horsehead?
No.
More golden color.
Yeah, you're right. I just thought that it was muted by dark dust between us and the flame. You know, we see dark dust here, but I think there's more in here as well. And it's sort of muted the colors. That's a thought anyway. Hey, Raymond Bobel, how are you? Okay, it looks like we got a little wind going on there. So this image I'll clear and let the next one come in. see. That's one of the things we can't estimate is the wind sometimes. And I mean, that telescope sticking up, look at the size of that. It's like a big sail. You know, it catches the wind, you know, and the slightest wind can cause a problem. All right, so right now the wind has been alleviated. You can see this 45-second photo is good. And now to watch the noise, this is actually a good moment, a good teaching moment. I'll zoom in on the Horsehead, okay, and you'll see this modeled, look like you're looking at it through sandpaper, right? All right, well, watch what happens in 15 seconds. You're gonna watch that sandpaper drop away to half of its previous intensity. Okay, so in 5 seconds now. So watch now. Here you go. Boom. Did you see that? I know it's hard to see, but it dropped to half its intensity. And if you notice, you can see it clearer now. Yep. It's a lot clearer now. There's the flame. Very nice. And of course, this is the whole region. Alnitak, Alnilam is just out of the shot up here. And now what we can do, we've got 2 stacked. Let's see what it wants to do with processing. I have a feeling. There we go. Yeah, I thought it was going to do that. And this rough look to it will actually go away. Izabela, you talking about these things right here? These bright streaks that you're seeing? This is actually a problem that we have to solve with the sensor. It could be thermal grease, as Darrell had discovered yesterday in a video, or it could be some kind of literally it could be a series of spider webs, or some otherwise unknown defect in the hyperstar. It could be like some lines in the hyperstar. So I have to really, when I get out there next time, I have to take this all apart and clean it and figure out what's going on in there. But I'm going to look at it without taking it apart to see if I can figure out where it has to come apart first. It's just makes me nuts. They only happen, by the way, you only see them when the moon is out. When the moon's not out, they're not that visible. And that's because these are being illuminated in part by the moonlight. And that's why they look kind of whitish blue. Don't know why they do that. I have no idea.
Wiki says that the Flame Nebula, they have studied it with the Spitzer infrared and the Chandra X-ray telescope, and there are like 800 stars hidden inside the Flame Nebula. We don't see it visible.
Yeah, they're pretty dense. It's pretty dense in there. See where the moon is, guys? All right. We're here with our telescope. All right. We're here with our telescope, and the moon is right there. So, the moon is very, very relatively close to us. It's only an Orion's height away from us, and we're actually imaging a dark nebula here, which I think is pretty amazing. But you know what we can do? I haven't done this yet. I'm going to color correct this. Yeah, let's give it a little color correction, see what we get. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Look at that. Little subtle shifts. Get rid of the green cast, and you get a little better view. And the other thing we can do to actually help with the noise, If I drop this down, it'll get much too dim. But I mean, this looks pretty, but we missed some detail. Check it out. Isn't that beautiful? Not bad for a live shot, huh? Not bad. Let's go to 66%. Wow, that's pretty. That's pretty. A little bit of wind streak, but we're okay. That's the artifact we're talking about that we have to get rid of. Beautiful clouds, and yeah, these clouds and billowing hydrogen gas that's being excited to glow. All right, let's see here. Actually, Izabela, the spiderwebs would be out of focus if they're at the camera sensor. That's right. But I think this might be on the hyperstar lens, which is removed enough for them to be kind of slightly out of focus streaks. Either way, I think what we've got is a problem on the hyperstar, not on this camera at all. So I can take the whole hyperstar out and replace it exactly as it came out. I don't have to. There's no problem with that whatsoever. It's made to be taken out. I can take it out and swap in the original secondary mirror and do f8 imaging, and not do it with a hyperstar at all. But and it's tempting to do that, but I think it's kind of cool to do this wide view stuff. Lewis Toss, hi there, Lewis, says, look like a seahorse. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Well, Marianne can tell you about that, because when she went in Hawaii, when she was diving down there in Hawaii last week, she actually had an encounter with a seahorse. They're very tiny. They're only about this big. Little tiny seahorses. Coolest little guys. I always thought seahorses were bigger, but they're not. Someone saying hi to Charles. Is Charles here? Charles who? Who did I miss? Charles Smar?
Charles Dineski, Dane's guy.
Oh, really?
First time here, he says.
Oh, Charles, welcome. I didn't see you. Where was his message? I'm trying to find your message, Charles.
Look just above Izabela, about halfway or so up the chat window.
Oh,
about
really?
two-thirds of the way up the chat window from present.
Okay. Well, I wish I saw that. I was just trying to find your message here, Charles, and I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't find it. Well, Charles, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. After all, look at the live shot. This is live, man. We did pick a real winner of a site, I have to tell you. For a 45 seconds to capture something like this in 45 seconds, I saw people, in Reddit, they put up 1 hour photos of the Orion Nebula, and it's like we get that in 20 seconds, but everybody has different systems that they use. We use a system that's 25 times faster than the original system that this was, so we kind of have an advantage. So I'm not going to slight anyone. Anyone that gets out there with a camera is, wins my admiration. They do great work. But this is beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get a little more detail out of the dark. Okay. Even with the moon, we still have some details here. Not bad. Interesting how it works out. I don't like those artifacts, unfortunately. But I talked to folks about what these are, and I told them they're only seen during the full moon, so they have to be on the hyperstar, and they actually cause a secondary reflection of some kind. I'm thinking it's the lens. See, the hyperstar is this big, long lens, conical lens. There's a lens at the end here where the camera goes in, and then at the back end, this is the one that lines up with the round corrector plate on a telescope, which goes into the telescope. I think it's on that. And I really, really hope it's not on the inside, because if it is, it's got to go back and get cleaned. Martin Willis is here. Hey, what's going on, Martin? There's Charles. Thank you, Charles Dineski. Thank you for subscribing and being part of us. You'll enjoy it. Martin, is Donna watching with you? We're watching. This is what we're seeing right here is this is actually the Horsehead Nebula and the Flame. And yeah, this is all right. There we go. That's what we're looking at right now. Horsehead Nebula and the Flame. Sorry about all these messages coming up all at once. I had accidentally turned off the entire lower thirds segment. Very pretty. We've stacked 17 of these. That's not bad for a moonlit night. Let's see. David Schmidt, good morning over there in Thailand. Thanks for joining us, David. I had come up with this stream literally minutes before we went live. I didn't, I should have thought. I didn't. I just came up with it too quickly and said, I'm going to just go. I've been working on an aerospace project for the last couple weeks, and I have more to go, and I just had to have some kind of relief. This is the last really reasonable night where we'll be able to check things out there before the moon starts getting pretty ugly. But we'll keep going. Charles Dineski says, "What else have you seen out there?" Oh my gosh, Charles. We have seen many objects. We watched satellites come through our views. I've seen curling objects move through with our all-sky camera. We have an all-sky camera as well. So I'm in Connecticut, and the observatory is out in the Arizona desert. Okay, that's the observatory in the desert right there, and the roof slides off. We put it in with the help of people some of the people in chat actually have been out there to work on it, and the telescope system, the building, all of it was courtesy of a GoFundMe campaign. Now, that's the Western Skytour live stream. The Eastern Skytour live stream is here at my end, and I'm in the process of rehabbing and getting a new building put in place. And the new building will house, oh, you can't see it, but the scope's right there. Okay, that's unfortunate. But it's going to house that telescope on the East Coast. So we'll have an East and West Coast observatory. They'll operate different manners. Okay, the one out there has a roof that I just basically made a horizontal garage door. So the garage door opener brings it on, brings it off. Here, for this one, I have linear actuators, which are going to just take the roof off the building like this. It's going to just lift it and go like that. Pop the top, and then put it back on with linear actuators. And I worked it out. I got all the links and all the lever arms, everything adjusted. It's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. We're up to 20, 21. Okay, we'll stop there. All right, we'll pause here. Now I'm going to change the name. I'm in the habit of looking.
Charles.
Yeah, this is live, Charles. This is live through our telescope that you see right there. You're actually seeing what the telescope sees. And then they're available for you up on a database. You can get these pictures exactly like you see them right up on our server for free, no charge.
Give me a moment, I'll post that.
All right, Darrell's going to post a link for you, Charles, so you can head up there and actually see them. Yeah, Raymond says, look above my head. Yeah, that's the telescope in the building. All right, that's it right there. This is it right here. It's pointing that way, as you can see. And this is the roof off. Okay, we're looking up in the sky. Oh yeah, David, a tree at sunset, right? Just beautiful. Okay, now that we've got this ready to go, I can now save this, and you'll see a green bar across the top. That's the file being saved right now to our server. And then I'm going to save it just like you see it right here. All right. And it'll be the full frame. It's not going to be this, you know, like a little zoomed in portion or a portion that has a menu or whatever, a dialogue in it. Okay. So now, I'm going to do that one again. So now what happens is you're going to be able to get these images within minutes. And so they're shipped out of the desert up to the cloud onto our server where you can get them for free. We don't charge a dime for any of this. All right, so there we go. All right, so now what we can do is we can clear this because we're done with the Horsehead region. And I guess while we're here, I suppose it never looks bad. What do you think I'm talking about?
M42.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what we can do now is we can actually just go down to our other counterpart. And the one that we love so much is the brightest nebula in the sky, isn't it? It's the northern hemisphere. Orion Nebula, measure 42. And it's so easily overexposed, you know, because you can't help it. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's do this. All right. And now let's go down south here a little. Actually, I'm going to change my rate of motion. We're going to change it to a little faster, make it half a degree per second, and then you'll watch the telescope icon. Let me get rid of this telescope icon is right there. You can see that scope. And we go down and over. And when I do that, we will be head west now a little bit, and we should see that the Orion Nebula is in our view. Let me just do this. Okay. And there it is. So we'll move over a little to the, we're going to go a little more west here. That's a little too much west. I forgot I had moved the value. David Schmidt, that's a great story. I remember all of that, of course. P&K Space Imaging, our brothers Paul and Keith, who do the moon and the planets. and yes, your ballerina, the Orion Nebula has looked like a ballerina, looked like an eagle, has looked like Bill Murray eating a Baby Ruth candy bar. At least
or Barney from The Simpsons.
Or Barney from The Simpsons. Hey, Albert, look, a peanut. There's so much nebula in here that it extends far beyond the scope of this our system, believe it or not. But we could do something interesting. If I take our gain, which is our sensitivity, and I drop it down. Okay, if I drop it down here, watch on the screen, we can see into the center of this nebula, okay? And even so, it's still too bright, and I have to go down to something like 750 milliseconds, which is 3/4 of a second, right? And then we zoom in, you can actually see those the things that are powering this entire region. So here we go. We dive in now. Boom. Right? And now you see the trapezium. 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. You see that? Now that we can critically focus automatically, we don't have a problem seeing this anymore, Darrell.
Yep. That's
really cool. And those 4 stars, this is a live view, don't forget. Okay, this is well, actually, I left it. It didn't change from 1 second. I want to go down to 750 milliseconds, 3/4 of a second. All right, so there we are. So it's not going to get a little dimmer, but you'll see those stars in the middle clearer. There we go. Look at that. These 4 stars, very, very hot young stars, illuminate and cause this whole nebula to glow in a variety of ways and in a variety of colors, because there's different materials in this nebula that are being caused to glow. Oxygen atoms and hydrogen atoms in particular. So let's go and now do a... we're going to blow this right out because I want to show you the extent. We'll do a 40-second shot. All right, but we want to increase the gain. Let's bring the sensitivity up here from 24. Let's bring it up a little more. All right, let's go to just about 300. 324. That's good. All right. All right, and then let's go here and do this again. All right, 45 seconds, or 40 seconds.
I see Bill Murray eating a Baby Ruth. Sometimes he looks more like Barney from The Simpsons. His mouth is open, and you know how Barney belches and his lips move.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, I don't see that myself, but All right, well, let's jump into our stack, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Skyter Livestream Show with Marc D'Antonio and Darrell Mason. We bring you only the best quality night sky views here with our live deep sky remote observatory out in the middle of the Arizona desert.
Mark has me on for class. I have tons of class. It's mostly low, but I got a lot of it.
Hey, but you know what? Class is class. All right. Let's pop out of this just so you can see the full extent. And then I will get this looking good. I've told you, you're an astronomer's astronomer. You have a really great knowledge about astronomy, you know. And we have different perspectives from different backgrounds in astronomy.
I'm a regular cliff claving.
Izabela, why do you say you're very, very new here? You're certainly not. You're a veteran.
She is.
Yeah.
She acknowledges that.
Yeah. So you can see this beautiful cloud. This is interesting because you're watching, what you're seeing in here is a lot of different things going on. Let me illustrate. Okay. You notice up in here, and the colors aren't quite right, but and they're kind of overexposed. But there's oxygen that's glowing bluish green in here that you can't really see too well because it's overexposed. And we have hydrogen that's glowing red right here, ionized hydrogen. Then down here, you have dust, and this dust is sort of a greenish blue. It's also oxygen that's also ionized down there, but you also have all this dust, and you see most of that dust like right here. See this? Clouds of billowing dust right there, and we're watching this billowing dust. This is actually one gigantic area. This is all connected. And it's all part of something called the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex, the OMCC. And you can think of the Orion Nebula as a blister off of this dark nebula. This is all a dark nebula. Dark dust and gas, dark dust and then mixed with gas. So that's what's in here. And the Orion Nebula is just like a blister popping off of it of a stellar nursery where young stars have started driving out with their energy, driving gas away, forming this billowing cloud, and ionizing it at the same time. So there you go, that's it. Up above the Orion Nebula, we have the other nebula, which you see, which is blue. That's a reflection nebula within a hydrogen emission nebula buried inside of it, which is why it looks magenta, because red and blue light make a magenta color light. And so that's what we're seeing there. And this is M42, by the way, the Orion Nebula. All right. Yeah, all right. That's where we'll leave it. So then this is where we are, right there. There you are. Yeah, Jessica, it looks really pretty now. Izabela is definitely an astro lady, I can tell you that. She has one of our bubble nebulae over her computer. You still have it up, Izabela? Darrell, astronomers love heavenly bodies. I had that on a t-shirt once and I was embarrassed to wear it. Somebody gave it to me and I was like, I'm not going to wear that. I'll get in so much trouble. But it was great. We do. They're beautiful heavenly bodies. Yeah. How pretty. Let's zoom in on this. I want to show you a little bit more detail. You see this over here? You can see all this additional beautiful dust out here. And you see this brownish dust which is starting to creep in front of the Orion Nebula. That's in front of the nebula, and it's glowing behind it. So this is an obstructing black cloud of dust right here. And what is that dust? Well, it's silicate particles. Thank you, Raymond. It's silica particles, and it's carbon atoms that are bonded into molecules. And the silica particles have ice on them that becomes a part of the soup that makes planets and atmospheres and nebulae to build stars eventually. So these dark nebulae are really the places where these emission nebulae, these stellar nurseries, are born in. That's where they come from. And where the stars are born, so too are the planets and the star systems like ours. Really cool. But let's zoom in. Let's go to 100% on this one, and I'll show you a few more details here. Moving up above the nebula, look at this dust between the Orion Nebula and the Running Man. Look at all that. Billowing clouds of brown dust. This is pollution by the universe. Natural pollution created by the universe. I mean, it's actually full of carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, methanol, carbon dioxide, water ice. That's really what's in this dark cloud, as ice is on those silica grains. You know, and then there's carbon atoms, basically soot from dead stars. You know, Ronald Marianne was here a little while ago. And our superstar Raymond is with us tonight. Raymond Bobel. Thank you, Raymond. And Ronald, the Running Man, is right there. That's the Running Man. There he is. See the running guy? Legs, arm up. Wait for me, like waiting for calling for the bus. Here's his head. He popped his top. At least that's how I see the Running Man.
I always try to imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger in that.
Oh yeah. Stick around.
Stupid movie.
It was Arnold.
Yeah.
It's true. It had its moments.
What was the name of the host of the show?
That was Richard Dawson.
Yeah, Richard Dawson. The real game show host.
Yeah.
Of course, Dawson got his start on Hogan Heroes, that I recall.
As Newkirk.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Ivan Dixon was Kinchlow. Robert Clary was LeBeau. Right? John Banner was Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. Werner Klemperer was Colonel Klink. I don't know what you're talking about. General Burkhalter, what a pleasure to see you. Shut up, Klink. That was Leon Aston, member the General Burkhalter. Bob Crane, of course. Yes, that's right, David. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is pretty. Thanks, JSCO. That's very kind. Yeah, LeBeau. Remember LeBeau? Yeah. Schultze, you've got strudel. Oh, little cockroach, you've got strudel for me. Oh. I won't tell us all. Thank you, Schultze. As you can imagine, I must have watched every one of those episodes a dozen times. Thank you, Fantasy. Thank you so much. Man, you guys make my night. I gotta tell you also, you know, as far as movies like that where they riddle the Stalag with tunnels, probably the best movie about that's more realistic was, of course, The Great Escape. That movie was riddled with superstar actors and actresses, and that movie ended up taking the cake when it came to having escape from a prison camp like that. Hello, Lauren Newbert. How are you? Good to see you. That's right, The Great Escape Fantasy. Dun 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 dun. And the guy would, well, I can't remember the actor's name, but he would always get caught, and he'd have to go back and he'd play with the ball, boom, and throw it against the wall, boom, boom, and you hear him hitting the wall, boom, boom. And that's what he would do. Thank you, Raymond. Bam. Raymond is the man.
God, I got a brain lock. It was a guy from the movie Bullet.
The guy that played that character?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. That's what I was saying. I can't remember who that was.
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. Hello, that's right. That was Steve McQueen, yep. Fantasy said it, yep. Steve McQueen with the baseball mitt. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Marianne says she's not here right now because she's watching the show Blue Bloods. Okay, that's fine. By the way, if you want to know where Orion is, just check out the telescope. The telescope is aiming all the way over into the west. You see that? That's quite far. Yep. Orion is disappearing. It'll be galaxy season very soon.
Yep. Rigel touches the western horizon. Rigel, the star at the lower right corner of Orion, is dropping and touching the western horizon 11:30 at night now, folks. Orion is going away.
Yeah, well, if you look here on our planetarium, okay, this is... Let's back out a little more. There you go. Now you can see there's Rigel. All right, and here's the horizon. It's going to be here. It's going to go this way. You know, following the lines here of the Earth. Yep. Yeah, that's right, Ronald. The moon was really high up on the meridian at one point. Yeah. It's actually right above Orion, and so if we were to look above Orion right here,
moon's in Gemini.
Yeah, but it's up here. Remember, I was showing it. So it's never in Orion. I'm saying it was above Orion.
Yeah.
So, because Ronald was saying that it was like right on his meridian, and it was a little while ago, but. You know, when does did Marianne come back? Thank you, Raymond. When does what return, David? I missed something. Marianne, did you see what Raymond says? Here's a bud for you, Marianne. Yeah, David, she's back from Hawaii.
You met Orion.
Oh, when does it come back? Oh, did you look back and see? Because I couldn't go back up and see.
Well, no, he just answered you.
Oh, he did? Oh, I'm sorry, David, I missed that. Well, Orion is just around the meridian at sunset, and then it keeps moving faster and faster away as the month goes by. But we'll have to wait till next. We'll have to wait till next year for it to start coming back at prime time.
Yeah.
Charles Dineski says, "I got lost. Now I'm back." You know what, Charles? Great. I'm glad you found your way back, man. Make a bookmark. And when you click the notification bell, drop down the box and click all, so you get all notifications from this particular channel. Okay, I might send news on the community channel sometimes as well, which I'm going to start doing more of. All right, so you may want to do that. Raymond, that's funny. Okay, well, here's the Running Man Nebula now. This is with a stack of 23, and the Running Man is really getting lower to the horizon, so this is not bad. And if we scroll up, and don't forget, again, this is live view, look at the difference in this cloud now. You can see how clearly how this cloud of dust is being delineated by all of the billowing nature of this material here. It's outstanding. Then, of course, we get down to the really, really hot, bright part, which is the Orion Nebula itself, where the trapezium, those stars we showed way at the beginning, are in here, giving off so much energy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop this stack right now. We're going to let this one come in, and we'll stop at 25. So this will be a stack of 25 frames right there. We'll pause that, and I am not going to use this. I'm going to change this to Orion Nebula and Running Man. I think I have it defined already, but it's okay. All right, Orion and Running Man Nebulae. Pull that out of there. All right, and now that's gonna be the name. When you see this name right here up here, that's gonna be the name that appears on the server. Right, so that's how you know what to look for. Okay, we're gonna save this. We're gonna save the stack that you see right here, the stack of files. Now, the stack is not. The stack has to be processed, okay? But if you want to see it just like this, then we save that file as well. And that's the file that when I hit save, it says save exactly as seen. So you get this right here. And let me show you once again before we move on. Let me show you what you're going to get. Okay, that's going to be coming up here. Here we go. This guy.
Happy birthday, Izabela.
It's not her birthday.
It's still her birthday here. It's already tomorrow there.
What? It's Izabela's birthday. Wow. Happy birthday, Iz. What's going on, man? I wish we all had a community channel where we could all talk together. We'd sing you happy birthday. Yes, we would. Wait, Darrell.
Yes?
We gotta sing her happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to
you.
Happy birthday, dear Izabela. Happy birthday to you. And many more. There. Now you can never say you didn't get anything from us. Oh, that's great. Oh, happy birthday, Izabela. You do so much for Skyter Livestream, and we appreciate you so very much. Really do. Wow. I'm going to save this again, and then move on. Darrell, you didn't even give me any trouble. You were ready to sing to Izabela. That was very nice. I thought you wouldn't want to do it.
I was thinking it when you mentioned
Oh, you were?
I was about to just start.
Okay. Well, I believe you would. Wow, that's pretty interesting. This next 40-second shot of the Orion Nebula had wind affected. Look at that. All the rest did not. That's pretty crazy. We got lucky. Hey, PG is here. PG, I think I missed you. I think you were here a long time ago. I'm sorry. That's Petita. She lives in Pennsylvania. Near Keith. Well, not really near Keith, but Pennsylvania, close enough. All right. Oh, Raymond. That is amazing, Raymond. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Raymond. Hello, Petita.
That's right. David, were you from Pennsylvania originally before you went over to Thailand? Okay. The best filter to use for a nebula, Ronald, that's ERRT radio asked. What's the best filter for use for nebula? Well, a couple of concerns. This particular filter I'm using is one called a UHCS. I have another one down in my container down there, but I realized it's actually in the filter wheel, so I can't show it to you. The UHCS gives us this view like this. It will cut through moonlight and cut through any like city glow and give you a really, really nice image where it pulls in hydrogen alpha, the reds, O3, the doubly ionized oxygen, which are these blues and subtle blues, and that also works for these reflection nebulae as well. All right, so that is something that specifically those narrow bands in one filter would probably be the best bet. I have one filter called a Radian, which has very, very narrow slot bands in it, which actually brings in O3, hydrogen alpha. The O3 is the blue-green, the red of hydrogen alpha, and then the H beta is the other line. Typically, it's sulfur on these other filters, and it requires a lot of time and exposure to get a really good image out of it. Okay, so if I did the same kind of thing here with the Orion Nebula, it would take a lot longer to get an acceptable result. The UHCS, slightly broader bands, but still the same ones. Broader bands, but letting through all that light, but not any of this extraneous light, just the stuff in the slot of data you want. And that's why we see with a bright moon just above Orion here, we see a nice faint nebula, anyway. And that's what the best one is. So it's a UHC-S, ultra high contrast.
Pardon me. Ronald, if you're observing visually from a dark sky, which I assume you have in southwest Minnesota, you don't need a filter at all. Seriously.
I'm in the camp that says that kicking out any stray light is a good thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know what his observing situation is, but I assume
he lives
he's
in a
doing
postage
visual.
stamp.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. He lives in a postage stamp.
Yeah, and I know Southwest Minnesota is not very,
Mm-hmm.
heavily populated. You will see nebulas just fine without a filter, Ronald. Or if you do want a filter, you
Maybe.
can keep it to a minimum. Now, imaging is something else altogether.
Yeah. Okay, we saw the little beehive earlier in Canis Major, and now we're going to go to the actual beehive. All right, and this is in the constellation of Cancer called Praesepe. There's constellation Cancer,
Yep.
and it's going to take us to this star right here, and that is Epsilon mental block.
Mark,
I'm
excuse
having
me
mental.
for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pardon
I think it's going to this star actually. How can I not remember that? Oh yeah. Okay, and then it comes up to the Beehive Cluster, which will be right. Now the thing about this, I've mentioned this before, some of the objects that we go to, the coordinates in the database are actually wrong, and this is one of them. All right, it ends up thinking that the beehive is actually here, and it's not. It's actually there. So what we're going to do is we now have to correct, and we have to move over to the west. And as we go west, you'll actually see it come in. This happens every single time we go to the beehive. Okay, so if I come in over here, if I just come into the main view, all right, here come the stars of the beehive now. You can't miss them because they're very bright. Look at that. That's the beehive. Yep, there we go. And of course, the moon is directly above us, somewhat higher in the sky, but there it is. Okay, so we'll let this settle in here. We've got our critical focus activated. So I've included a focus system now in here, connecting the focus system in here. And we actually have the autofocus capability now. Makes it so much easier, and it's fun to watch when it does it. Okay.
Ronald, this is Messier 44.
That's right, Praesepe.
The ancients knew about the Beehive Cluster. It's big and bright enough you can actually see it naked eye from a dark sky. And they knew all about it thousands of years ago. That's where the name Praesepe comes from. The Greeks knew about it.
I spelled it wrong. That's better. Okay. All right, and now that we've got it there, we'll just do a 25 seconds on this one. Wow. Why is that doing that? I don't want 25 milliseconds. I want 25 seconds. And when I hit the 25, I get that fine. But then I hit the S and it goes away. So it's like I gotta give it more time for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, okay, 25 seconds on Praesepe M44, the Beehive. Live stacked here on WSTLS. Actually, that works. WSTLS, Western Skyter livestream. Wow, kind of neat.
Except Western Mississippi, it'd be a K instead of a W.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's just move this manually over. Let's get the black point over here to kind of brighten it up just a little. Here we go. Okay, Praesepe's suffering from some wind. It's got the winds. If I clear real fast. Okay, gotta wait for the next one.
Looks like your scope's almost straight up too. Probably catching.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a sail.
Nope.
Sticking up. Doesn't make me dizzy, David Schmidt. It's all right. Thank you. Okay, this let me zoom in on this to catch it. Some of these stars look fine, some of these don't. Let me look. Yeah, see how the wind has. See what the wind does to the images?
Yeah.
It turbulates them, really something fierce. The brighter stars feel it worse. I could see if maybe dropping it to 20 seconds makes a difference. It could. I'll try that. Oh, sure. Now it works. Almost. Alright, we'll try it again. And let's just get in here. Get down to 50% anyway. 40%. Here's a 40% view. Yeah, we got wind. See that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, picking up too, it looks like.
Yeah, it is.
Let me check real quick here.
I'm gonna try again. Yeah. We are getting the wind. We're getting the wind knocked out of us.
It says 4 knots at your place. That looks worse than 4 knots.
Yeah, there's gusts that you know. If you're looking at Wickenburg.
Yeah.
Okay, Wickenburg is miles away from this.
I'm south of Wickenburg.
Yeah, there is no station south of Wickenburg. It's only interpolated.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get actual data. Let me clear this and see if this next one is going to be anything good. That looks better. Uh-huh. That looks better. Let's see if maybe that will be a better stack. We could have just had a brief wind. Yeah, so far the second one is looking good. Let's process that. It's gonna go wacky on me. So I'll just drag this down a little. Here we go. Alright, well that's three. Three stacked and maybe a little tiny wind perturbation. But not so bad. Let's see what it's doing though. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a drag in the north-south, northeast, or northwest, southeast, northeast, southwest direction. But that's alright. Doesn't look that bad. It's Praesepe! I'm just very happy you guys came out to see it all. Technically, being straight up, we should get the best view of these stars ever. If the wind was calm, this would be the best view.
Yeah.
Look at these two tiny little stars. Those would so not be in our previous view. We would not be able to see those. Ah, Raymond. Stay out of the line of fire, man. Hey, Genghis, how's it going? Fantasy says March is the worst month for wind in the desert. Well, you know, March comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb. Remember that phrase? Well, for a reason.
Came in like a lamb this year.
Uh-huh. Fantasy says, I've been caught in 70-mile-per-hour gusts in the desert that destroyed tents. I believe it. And at the building, we've had 80-mile-an-hour gusts. We just stay closed. That roof ain't going anywhere, I promise you. Wind can't pick it up, can't get under it.
After I visited Las Cruces, New Mexico, and El Paso back in the 90s for that annular solar eclipse.
Yeah.
And I spent a night observing out in the desert. And I raved about New Mexico then, southern New Mexico. My sister and her husband decided it'd be a great idea to take their RV for a vacation in southern New Mexico in March. And they didn't realize, or they didn't know it was windy season then, and they complained greatly when they came back. Sounded like about all it did was the wind blew. But hey, I was there in May and it was really nice out. And it hadn't really gotten hot yet.
Alright, this is Praesepe. We're going to save this stack of 11. And then we're going to save the image exactly as seen. And that'll be up on the server exactly as named up there in the top line right here. And now we can clear it. And let's go see what's coming up in the east, Darrell.
Leo.
Exactly.
Virgo.
Exactly.
Coma Berenices. Arcturus and Bootes. I never can say that right.
I always just say booties.
Yeah, I used to.
I still do. I'm uncultured. Hey, it's better than referring to things by right ascension and declination, which is what we used to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to pop out of this a little bit. Get a little farther from the moon. Because there's Regulus right there. And Regulus is the brightest star in the constellation of Leo the Lion,
Yep.
which you see right there.
Some people say Regulus is his heart. Some say it's his foot. Usually they say it's his foot.
Well, in this particular case, you can see that it's probably his heart. It depends how they represent him.
Yeah. Leo is one of those sort of like Scorpius. It actually looks sort of like what it's supposed to represent.
Yeah, it does. Okay, now Darrell and I, we cheated a little bit. We looked at these objects the other night, and we'll look at them again tonight. M96, M95, and then these galaxies up at the top. Might as well, you know. Okay, this galaxy, the one we're heading to, M96, this galaxy is literally 31 million light years away. So when we look at it, we're seeing it as it was 31 million years ago. Okay. Now, in addition, I have to just look. I have to bring up one more. Oh, 59. Oh, okay. We'll be over the building. I was just trying to make sure. I usually don't look at things toward the eastern side. But that's only because the light from Phoenix, although you can't see it with your eye, the camera can see it. It's 65 miles away. But now you're going to see some galaxies coming into the view here. There'll be fuzzy spots, at least to begin with. There they are. This is M95, M96, and then this guy here, I forget what that one is. We'll figure it out. But we're going to actually focus on these two galaxies first. And you're going to be amazed. These actually look really, really interesting. And it doesn't take a long exposure to show it either. Okay. Hopefully the wind will make it easier for us. Let me zoom in just to check to make sure that our focus keeping is working okay. Let's go right to 100%. Yeah, looks good. I'm watching the images and watching how they change relative to the wind moment to moment. It's like right there, there's wind. See how it moved the telescope? That's why you have your telescope in a building, and that's why it's not just on a pier sticking out. Katie, I thought you were heading out. I didn't realize you're still here. So good to see you. Yeah, hot, cold, that's Colorado. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, look at the wind. Well, we'll try it. What's the worst that can happen? We can't do it because of the wind. We usually get to see whatever we want anyway, so that's cool. Let's go to 40%. Okay, that's good. Now, let's try 20-second exposure. Not 20 milliseconds. Why is it doing that? Go here. Okay, and then do this. 20. And that should be seconds. Alright. Hey, Jackie Jacks, how you doing? Welcome back. I remember you being here last time. Katie. I should go to sleep, but this is so cool. I'm glad you joined us. I threatened to have you come on with us, but we couldn't work it out for tonight, but that's okay. Katie's got a lot of cool stuff that she does, so I'd love to have you guys exposed to her. Alright. Here's our first 20 seconds. What do we got? Okay. That looks pretty good. We're going to get rid of some of the noise here in a minute. Okay, Jackie Jacks asked a question. I'm neutral, but how do you know you're not looking at everything? You're not looking at everything in the sky, in the firmament. That's interesting. I have a book here from the 1800s on the architecture of the heavens and a series of letters to a lady. And it is a book written before the Civil War when astronomy wasn't really taken too seriously. So I had to express everything in poetic prose. Well, the reason we know we're not seeing everything up there is the fact that when we put telescopes in space, we end up seeing things farther away than we ever imagined. The James Webb Space Telescope, for instance, is going to do that. It's going to be able to see way further back at objects moving away much faster from us than ever before. They're moving so fast that their light is actually shifted all the way into the infrared, so you can't even see them anymore. You know, if you were right up close to them, their light would look normal to you. But because from our position at this location in the universe, they're so far away and accelerating further away from us that their lines, the data in their light it's called redshift, is shifted into the red end of the spectrum so far that it goes off the end of the scale into the infrared beyond anything we can see. Very deep into the infrared. So, in other words, there's a whole lot of galaxies out there we've just never seen, ever. To this day, we've never seen them. But we will. We will. And that's what the James Webb is specifically built for, is to find and view these distant galaxies. Alright. Now, one thing's for sure, we're going to color correct this. Okay, there we go. That's better. And let's take this, go down a little bit. Not too far. A little bit. There we go. Ronald is screaming at us. Would it be a good idea to get a binocular eyepiece viewer and use one side for my next image 10 camera and the other eyepiece for viewing? Actually, I would advise against that, Ronald, because the binocular eyepiece, as Darrell would also tell you, splits the light. So you only get half the amount of light to the left side and to the right side. But in your brain reconstructs the image. So when you see a binocular image, it looks great, but you're actually losing half the light in each eyepiece. So if you put a camera on the left eyepiece, what that's going to do is it's going to knock out half the light, half the intensity, and you won't see it. Yeah, well, you won't. Okay, yeah, you won't see it.
Ronald, a good binocular viewer, bino viewer, a good one is horribly expensive, and I think you'd be disappointed trying to do what you're saying. If you want to use a camera, put a camera on the telescope.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Ronald, you have a good telescope. I think you bought one that we kind of advised you on. I always tell people to get one of these little Celestron 6XEs. And I think that's what you got, something along that line.
I believe his is an 8-inch.
Did you get an 8?
I think
don't
it's the
remember
8-inch on a single arm fork mount. Evolution, whatever they called it.
Oh, maybe so. I know you brought it out to Pine Bush, Ronald, but I don't think you ever took it out of the case. You know?
Bino viewers are
Yeah, it's
okay for what they are. You do have internal light losses. That's why I said less than half. They're good for some things. Looking at planets, looking at the moon, some brighter deep sky stuff. Remember, I mean, it's not just a bino viewer. You need matched sets of eyepieces for every focal length you want to look through them at. And that adds up really fast also. Plus, really good bino viewers are expensive all by themselves. The nice thing about bino viewers is, as Mark alluded to, that when you see something with both eyes, it tends to get rid of the noise that you may see with one eye. It smooths things out a lot and can help you with fine detail if you're well focused. But I wouldn't try to put a camera on one side and look through the eye with the other side. You probably wouldn't have enough room anyway to fit your head in there. And you would disturb the telescope while the camera's running.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I have, I have one good bino viewer, and I think I have one or two other bino viewers. I never used it that much. I didn't buy a dedicated astronomical bino viewer. I wound up finding a good used microscope bino viewer of a quality name brand, and I built the adapter to mount it to the telescope, and bought several sets of the microscope eyepieces that go on that viewer. And it's okay, it's nothing special. It's alright, I guess. I never used it that much. Bino viewing was the thing 20 some odd years ago. That's why I built the binocular telescope.
And people build binocular chairs. Darrell and I talked about this, where you actually sit down, you bring down this binoculars in front of your eyes, and you're just leaning back in an easy chair. And in the most advanced ones, you have a joystick. You just drive around the sky and look up, and that is just the coolest thing. But keep in mind that if you have powerful binoculars, every time you shift or move, the whole sky is going to shake and vibrate, and it won't stop vibrating for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, but a number of seconds. So there is a time that you're going to have an issue with.
Well, binocular astronomy is a huge subject all by itself.
Yeah. Katie Griboski asked, do you ever see anything streak across the sky live? And the answer is yes. Just tonight, we saw several satellites streak through here, our views. And we've seen meteors come through. And I actually caught an object I can't explain, that I don't know how to explain. Okay, it was something that was, I caught it on the all-sky camera, and it was just an amazing find. And it looked like it was very odd, and I couldn't figure out what it was. To this day, I really can't. And I will, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you because I'm wacky, I tell you, wacky. Alright, so this is the object. Let me just come back over here now. And now let's bring that up. Okay, let's get rid of this. We're out of Praesepe now anyway. Okay, so here it is. This is our all-sky view from the desert. This is the glow of Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, 65 miles away. And this is the giant spider that's attacking Phoenix. Actually, no. This is the oddity. This thing here is doing this weird circling curve. Now, I wouldn't think anything of it if that's all it was. But on the frame previous, this is from a video. The frame previous to this, I should say a frame that's 24 seconds long, as you can see. Let's see, right here. See, it says 24 seconds long right there. Okay, so a 24-second long frame and in continuous 24-second imagery. So all night long you watch the sky dance across, and it's just beautiful. But this object was on one frame, and then the other side of it was on the other frame, a complete circle. And I could not figure out why I was seeing that. So this is a true unidentified flying object, Katie Griboski. All right, it is a UFO, and I didn't know what it might be. And I thought, well, if it was an aircraft, okay, like an aircraft, like a jet, right? Using this little lip balm thing, the jet has a nozzle and exhaust. Well, as it's heading away from you, well, then you can imagine you'd see a curve, right, as it's curving away from you. But you wouldn't see the curve as it was coming towards you, right? Because the nozzle's on the other side. You would not see it. As I have the other frame, Izabela, as well. Again, I guess that's part of a video. I just pulled this out to show in the presentation. But I have a complete circle between two consecutive frames. And I have yet to understand what that could be. Now you might think, well, it's just a jet. Okay. But why do we see this perfect circle on both sides? That's weird. It really is weird. And from my perspective, both as an astronomer and as the MUFON chief photo and video analyst, I can't explain this. This is one of the true oddities.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
You saw just recently some sort of ghostly apparition float across the sky.
Oh yeah, you did. We did, yeah.
Yep. That could very well be a meteor train being caught in the wind, which will distort it in pretty short order.
You would think so, but those don't generally have a perfect shape. And I thought about a meteor train, but then the other image, which is the completion of the perfect circle, that's the part I don't, I can't fathom. If I just had one frame, that would make sense. And you'd have to say, well, that's the closest thing we can get, but it's the rest of the other frame shows the rest of the circle. Just as bright, by the way. So that's what's odd about it. Yeah. So there you go. So that's it right there. That was the whole thing I wanted to show you. And these are our galaxies. You'll notice that we have stacked 37 of them. And look at this galaxy. It has beautiful detail in it. We have a tiny bit of wind that's affecting us, as you can see. But we can see some spiral arms. We also have these artifacts. I'm going to get rid of these. Don't worry. I'm going to have those gone. But boy, oh boy, that's just beautiful. They really show up when the moon is out. That's the problem. Then near the top of the field, we have other galaxies that are up here as well. Again, they're wind. They're actually wind. Yeah, they are. There's one there. Yeah, amazing. So we have our galaxies, and it's galaxy season, not just for these two, but for many other galaxies as well.
There's a third M object in or very near that same field as M95 and M96. M105 is over a little bit to the left. It may be out of frame. And
we'll find it.
A little farther to the left is M65 and M66.
Okay.
These are under the belly of Leo the Lion, and 65 and 66 are kind of under the hindquarters and tail of the lion.
Yep. All right, so again, these are M95 and M96 Galaxies in Leo, the lion. And we will save these. I'm going to pause these and we'll save these here. I'll save the stack and save exactly as seen. I can't impress upon you enough that to be able to capture galaxies when the moon is out, you just, in the early days, you just wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do that. But now that we have these filters, we can do it. Hey, Vera Alicia Campos is here. Hi there. And Marianne's going to bed, I guess. All right. Good night, Marianne.
Good night, Marianne.
Good night, John Boy.
I bet if you, let's see, you're on auto. If you dragged M95 and 96 over near the right-hand edge, you'd probably pick up M105 and 2 other galaxies in the same field, I think.
Well, let's go. Let's see if we can.
Or close.
All right. Let's clear these now. Oh, did I save these?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I saved them into the wrong thing. I'll separate them out. I was so good at it, and I actually went to change it, and I didn't. All right. Okay, so we're going to go to 1 second now. All right. And go my hybrid mode. Hold on 1 second here. I'm melting. There we go. That's more reasonable. Okay. Let's get rid of the stack. All right. Alrighty. Oh, Vera, I see you there. How you doing? All right.
Izabela, we changed the daylight saving time in Sunday morning, 2 a.m. our time.
Yeah, which means that we're going to end up being an additional hour late. You know?
Yeah. Except it'll still be early there, and the big problem I have with daylight savings time, it affects me physically, and they say that it does big time. It takes me a week and a half or 2 weeks to get over it. Yeah, they're those ones just up above to the upper left of M96 there. There you go.
Yep, right there. Yep. So we can just jump up and grab them. They're right up here, just out of the view.
Yeah.
Let's go see them. Let's go see.
Oh, they say heart attack rates go up with daylight savings time, and to me it's like jet lag. It is the same thing as jet lag. It just it throws my system off for about 2 weeks, and really messes with me bad. Eventually get used to it, but I just like daylight savings time in general. Carmen is here.
Well, hey Carmen, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm glad you folks are coming out tonight. This is so nice to see you guys here. Okay, we have wind. We have some wind tonight, so that's actually what's causing the images to dance a little bit. But as I've mentioned, we have implemented a autofocus process, so we actually get really nice pinpoint stars and data like never before. But of course, we can't control the wind. So this is M105 here with another galaxy, NGC, what is it? M105 NGC 3389. Right?
There's three close together right there.
Yeah.
David?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Lay it on him, David. Okay, these are right there, so let's...
Yeah, there were three there in the center of that field.
Yep. I'm gonna move my alignment system in. That's just for the planetarium side. Yeah, that's these guys right here that we're looking at. We have 1, 2, 3. So let's try, see if we can get any kind of exposure out of this. I'm not sure we will, but we'll try. Okay. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's go see what we've got. There we go. That's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay.
Well,
they're not quite as showy as 95 and 96 or 65 and 66. I thought we got a really good looking 65
or
and
M31.
66 the other night.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did.
of course.
Yeah, we've got some wind also blowing these stars, so we're not going to get a completely good image here. So I'm going to abandon this one.
All right.
Because this one's not going as well. Actually, I have to get up early tomorrow to go to a retirement party for a lifelong friend. So I won't be able to do any more tonight. I'm going to have to head to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know me. I keep looking at things and saying, well, maybe just one more. I don't know. Is there something here we haven't seen that I want to see before we just go to bed right now? And the answer is always. I think at some point we're gonna want to just like take a nice wide field image of the whole coma cluster, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, folks. We started with Orion and we ended with Leo, the lion. In any case, I hope you guys do have a good night, and we will be here. Well, we'll see what happens as the night goes on, or as the nights go on. The moon gets brighter and brighter. But I always like to try it out. I always like to push the telescope and see how it'll work anyway, with the bright moonlight. But you guys have a good night, all right? And Darrell and I will see you again on our next stream. But I want to thank everybody that contributed. That was very, very kind. You guys are amazing, as always. And, you know, now we have Starlink out there. And that's well, that's $100 a month for us. So that'll help us. It's gonna help us very much. So you guys have a good evening, and we'll talk again soon. All right. So, Darrell, thank you. I'm glad that you could come along.
Well, thanks for having me on. And
Sure.
thanks for coming, everybody. And happy birthday, Izabela. Still your birthday here.
That's right. Yeah, actually, no, yeah, it is. Not for me. It's not your birthday anymore here, Izabela. Because I'm 2 hours away from Darrell. Oh, well.
Still your birthday out in the desert.
Isabel, when you do the table of contents, you know, you're going to have to label one of the entries singing Isabella happy birthday. Or singing me happy birthday, you got to write. Because that's you. See? So you're going to have to key that as a special place where Darrell and I sing you happy birthday. Haha. Have fun with that. Okay, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll see you again real soon. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
It'll be fun, I promise, guys. We'll have fun. See you later.